Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Tuesday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. For the Believe Entertainment Network at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. We're back. We're on time. Well, it's the right day anyway.
Fair.
We're going to talk the Halloween game. UNC at Syracuse, 7:30 this Friday, October 31st. So, yeah, I mean, for any of you that have kids, I know trick-or-treating ends here around 8, but not this year. Ends at 7:15. That's what time it ends. That's when you get home, and then you shut your lights off so no one's ringing your damn doorbell. That's how it's going to have to go.
Yep, pretty much.
So anyway, we're going to tell you all the things we know about North Carolina, which is, it's minimal at best. They're kind of a weird team, man. So I did listen to the presser. Devin Grant's going to start, apparently, so that's good news. Coach says at about 85%. So that's good.
Yep.
The other thing that I caught out of there was a question Coach didn't want to answer. Joe, did you catch that? I mean, I'm sure you did.
Remind me.
Apparently, John Wildhack had told the press corps of Syracuse that they, due to legalities, they only sign guys to 1-year contracts.
Oh, 1-year NIL contracts, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I just don't know what I don't know. So, I mean, I didn't realize that, first of all. Right. Second of all, what would the legalities be that Syracuse has to abide by that other teams don't? Because the question came off like as if obviously Syracuse is at a disadvantage in that standpoint. So is it a New York State thing? Is it a private school thing? Do you know?
I don't.
I could have Googled it if I wanted to, but I was like, you know what? Joe's going to know. Huh?
No, it's all convoluted because right now, like I said, that's why they're going for the revenue sharing, obviously, and to get schools to be able to pay. I don't know. That's one thing that, when you look at the NIL, because we've heard of other schools, collectives, the fans or the boosters that are putting together these LLCs to put together money to pay out the kids. I don't know what the contracts are like. I don't know. Like, I think a lot of it is just hearsay. You hear a lot of these other kids from other schools that say that they were offered this, but then they didn't get paid specific amounts. And I'm just wondering, like, how binding that is, like, or is it just like hearsay? Is it like the coaches say, okay, well, this is what we can offer you, and then they get the kid to the school, and then it changes once you start having conversations with the collectives and other things like that. So, at some point there needs to be collective bargaining. The schools need to be able to give out contracts and binding contracts. Otherwise, it gets a little messy.
We're past messy, but yeah.
Well, yes, and on top of that too. The way I look at it is, if I was a school, I wouldn't want to give somebody more than a 1-year NIL deal anyway, because to me, that's you're moving that. You know what I mean? Every year that scale moves. I mean, if you tell somebody a transfer, hey, I'm going to give you, again, like the quarterback that went to Duke, like 2-year, like $10 million or $8 million contract. Well, that kid's expecting to get that regardless of how he plays. But then you have the guys like Trevor Pena, who, being injured, not putting all the stats out there, maybe he wasn't that deserving of that much NIL money up until the Kyle McCord year, right? So to me, if I'm a coach or if I'm an AD, I want to be able to every single year come back and kind of revisit how much money these players should be able to get depending on their worth and depending on their season the year before, right?
Yeah, because a lot, especially in Syracuse situation, because you don't ever really know what you're going to get. I think that a lot of other schools with the bigger names and the bigger pockets, deeper pockets, they have a little bit of advantage because they just stack their roster and they kind of know what they got. And even if they do sign a guy for maybe longer than they'd like, it's not like they don't have pockets deep enough to find someone else. But not only that,
the question is, do they really get paid?
Well, I mean, that's yeah. Well, right now, I mean, for this conversation, we have to assume that everybody's getting paid.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you know what? You play the game. You play the game. I guess. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they should have. I mean, these kids that aren't getting paid need to have better representation. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure there's representation out there that is probably not out for the best interest of some of these kids.
Right.
And you're going to deal with slime balls, and probably part of it is that a lot of these slime balls were already somewhat doing what they're doing now, and they were just doing it not on the up and up. Now it's on the up and up, and there's weasels out there, man, taking advantage of these kids and these families, especially lower income families in high school. That we all know these kids are getting recruited and way younger every year. Every year it seems to get younger, right? Like you got eyes on you younger. These kids aren't even mature enough to make to get their license and be on the road, let alone have professional representation to put together $1 million contracts for college athletics. It's kind of gross. I think we don't need to get into this whole thing because I feel like everybody knows our thoughts. So I just don't want to beat a dead horse. But yeah, to your point, Syracuse, what the year-to-year thing is probably has more pros than cons to it. And if someone's going to leave, they're going to leave. And whether that's because of more money or not, it doesn't really matter. You kind of got to get what you get, and you're going to have to put together years like we would have put together this year. I feel like would have been a solid year. We would have got a bowl game. We pulled out a decent win. Who knows? We could have maybe gotten another top 25 win this year. Well, in last year, of course, obviously we did all the things. So, yeah, I mean, it's okay. I just, we weren't deep enough in the quarterback spot to survive this year.
No.
You got to stay healthy. It's the name of the game. We don't have the pockets to pay someone to sit on the bench. That's actually really good.
Well, and I mean, you have to understand too, we probably did pay Ricky and then we probably did pay Steve, right? But to me, in my mind, if you're going to make some changes and everything, one of the things I would do is make that change, right? I would make that change, and I would also say to that as well, I think that it should be a one-year thing. I think that in some aspect it hurts because, again, if Syracuse is only going out there and saying, okay, well, we can only give you this for this year and then see how you play, see how you pan out, and then we'll revisit this in the offseason, that's not a lot of guarantees. And again, like you said, there's agents out there that are in their ears and, hey, you can get more money over here. And again, to use a perfect example with Darian Mensah and Duke, I mean, if he falls on his face and he ends up, he's played well, but if Duke ends up finishing the year off bad, he falls on his face. Is Duke really going to turn around and give him another $4 or $5 million next year? I don't know. So realistic, and on top of that too, that should be a binding contract of, okay, well, if we're going to offer you a 2-year, $8 million contract, then you can't transfer. You have to be here for 2 years, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it, but to me, what makes sense is a year-to-year based thing. And if we get to revenue sharing and collective bargaining and all that other stuff, it's going to be a year-to-year thing unless a player wants to sign a contract in which, okay, I'll be here 2 years and I'll get paid this amount of money each year. But if you decide to transfer after that year, then the contract is null void and then you don't get paid, obviously. So there's some different things that need to happen. But I can see in this world, especially if he admits it in the press conference, Like I can see in this world where it might hurt you in recruiting or the transfer portal with guys more than 1 year, right? Because of that, right? Because they're going to try to get as much as possible. And the agents that they have now, right? Because now it's not just an agent trying to get you into professional football. There's an agent that's trying to get high school kids the most money as they possibly can so that they can get the most money that they possibly can, right? It's kind of comparable of an agent in college talking the player into going into the draft a year early just so that he can get his cut instead of waiting, right? So, there's a lot there, but I can see the positives and the negatives. The problem is that, yes, I do think the positives outweigh the negatives. The problem is that the negative is you're talking about money and other schools being able to offer more money to these players.
Yeah, and, I mean, it could be as simple as a transfer rule being put back in place.
There's that too.
So, and which would force the schools to have to also comply. In other words, 1-year contracts may not work for certain guys, right? If a guy's already transferred once and he's had to sit out a year or whatever, and then he goes, I mean, it'd be easy enough to figure it out. It could clean it up, I think. It's I guess what I'm saying. And we've talked enough about that. And it's kind of ruining it's ruining some of the, I don't want to say nostalgia, but some of the getting to know your team type thing, and watching guys get better on your team, and just it takes away like the old school feel we had, in the late 80s through the 90s and even part of the 2000s. It's just like I said before, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, so it is what it is. You just have to figure out a way to make it a little bit more not stupid. Okay, so we talked about Devin Grant coming back. North Carolina, so Gio Lopez, the quarterback, I guess he a few games ago, he was nursing a lower body injury, and he sat out a game, and he's started the last 2 games, and I guess I see some reports that say he's still nursing it, and he's not 100%, but anyway, he's back, right? So we're going to assume that he's playing. Okay. The odds makers, they got this thing. Syracuse favored, I think, what was it? 2.5 points or something like that. 2.5, 3 points at home. I think the over unders like 46, 49, something like that. So, coming into this game, we talked about it Sunday, that Syracuse has got to capitalize on this home game to at least try to spark some kind of fire under their own asses to, get through the next couple games, because they're not going to be easy with 4 games left. It's going to be a tough road to hoe to a bowl game. So statistically, neither one of these teams are having a great year on paper or off paper. North Carolina's offense, they rank near the bottom nationally with total offense sitting at 129th. They average about 280 yards per game. Defensively, a little better, but their defense is still just okay. Sitting at 50th in the country, they allow 345 yards per game. So when you look at these two teams, and neither one of them really lighten any fires with their play, they're not exactly turning heads. Comes to strength of schedule, there's a difference between Syracuse's and North Carolina's. And I guess, I had this up, but the two teams that North Carolina beat have a combined record of 5-11. Okay, I think Charlotte, the Charlotte 49ers, they're like 1-7, and then the Richmond Spiders, they're 4-4. So there's Joe, you brought it up last week. They go into overtime with Virginia, 16th ranked Virginia at the time, and they lose by 1. So, really that game there showed more grit and determination and fight, and was probably their best game all season, and it was a loss, right? Yeah. I mean, they They only scored 20 points on Charlotte, who hasn't, they won one game this year, and they destroyed Richmond. It's a pretty balanced, very like not impressive offense. I mean, I'm just going to say it, man. Like, it's just not impressive at all through.
Well, neither is ours.
I know, but through 7 games for UNC, they have, between both quarterbacks, and Max Johnson came in for Gio Lopez for a couple games, and he finished a game at 1,183 yards. And Steve Angeli played 3 games, and he's got over 1,300. So, and he still leads our team in passing. But, I don't know, Joe. You try to change my mind. I'm just not. I'm not that impressed with either side of the ball for UNC. They don't scare me. I feel like this is a great opportunity for Syracuse at home in a primetime game on Friday night to try to just make North Carolina fans more miserable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's hope that's the case, right? It's kind of been a debacle. We didn't know what to think. I remember the preview with Tyler. We didn't know what Belichick was going to bring to the table, and we knew that there was a big turnover. Charlotte and Richmond are not obviously impressive teams, and they lose to TCU, Central Florida, and Clemson. But I'm not gonna lie, like the last 2 games, at California, the 21-18 game, they had 3 turnovers to California's 0. So you argue maybe if they take care of the ball, then they might win that game. But a field goal game nonetheless. And then Virginia, Virginia's looked pretty good. I think that they're a little overrated, but their record is what it is. And
I agree with you.
Yeah, it was a home game.
It was a home game.
And it was 10-10 at halftime. Nobody scored in the second half, and they went into overtime. And Virginia scored to make it 17-10, and then North Carolina scored. And instead of continuing to possibly
go to a second,
they went for 2, and they missed it by about 4 inches. So they were pretty close to winning that game. And I know North Carolina, Virginia is kind of like a rivalry. But I will say that, but I will say, look, at the end of the day, they look better with Gio Lopez as their quarterback. Not that much better, but at least he was the starting quarterback in their 2 wins, and he was the starting quarterback their last 2 games. I know that he started a couple of games, but them losing to TCU, Clemson, and at Central Florida is kind of expected. So really, it's hard to gauge where this team is, just like it's been hard to gauge kind of like where our team's been since Angeli got hurt. But I think the big thing here is that the offense, like you said, the offense doesn't seem like they're an offense that's going to, pull away, so to speak. We can make some of the, decision making and some of the mistakes and maybe not getting certain plays. We can make those mistakes like we did against SMU and Georgia Tech, and we can still win this game. It's just, to me, North Carolina, like I said, their defense keeps them in games. They've kept them in the last couple games, and that's really what it's going to be. I just think that this is not going to be a very high scoring or. Yeah,
I think the over unders. I was myself. I mean, just looking at my score here, I got it right around that. I'll say. But
yeah,
to your point, it's not going to be some kind of barn burner or anything like that. It's going to be these offenses battling these defenses. And I feel like the worst matchup, if our defense can play like they have, people are critical of our defense, but I don't think that our defense has been off like this terrible thing all year.
Right.
If they can play like they did against Pitt, and then I know it was ugly, but
Pittsburgh Other one. Yeah.
Well, right. Yeah. But I mean, but if they could play like that, if they could play like they did at Clemson, and I think that they will dismantle this offense of UNC's. That's how I feel. I just feel like when our defense was playing really good, we won the game against Clemson, but we just had so many missed opportunities on offense when the defense has been good in numerous games this year that it hasn't been complimentary football. And I think that this is your best opportunity. And I'll say it right now. I think the defense, I don't think they have to score, but in my head, I'm thinking if they do score, then that's a win. Your chances of winning go up. You know how when you look at your fantasy team, and at some point you're like, I'm going to win this game.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that our defense played good enough for us to win against SMU, against Pittsburgh, and against Georgia Tech.
I feel like that too.
Our offense couldn't keep up with them, and then there was too many 3-and-outs or mistakes, and then our defense ended up staying on the field too long, and eventually, obviously, those offenses were better than North Carolina's offense, and eventually those offenses broke through and scored too many points for us to come back. So that's really where it is, right? Obviously, the room for error, the percentages for error is so small for our offense that, that's really what it comes down to. We don't need to blow the doors out of to blow the doors off the offense, and we just need to sustain drives and to keep the defense off the field, and we just need to stop making dumb mistakes when it comes to penalties and turnovers. And that's really, again, I know that it's an easy way to say, but this is we could play a very vanilla, very boring game, but not make mistakes. And I feel like we're going to be able to take this pretty handily, because I think that as long as we keep the defense off of the field, and then when you put up points on the board, even if they're 3-point field goals, when we have a chance to, then I think that's going to be, the thing. I think Virginia, they didn't score enough early to really put the pressure on the North Carolina defense. So to me, that's really what it comes down to, is we need to be able to put points on the board early. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that, but we've also been able to kind of hold some of these teams out of the end zone for the first half. So against North Carolina, we just need to find a way to put some points on the board early, put the pressure on North Carolina. And again, too, this should be, a raucous crowd. Realistically, you're talking about a Halloween night, right? On a Friday night. Hopefully we get enough people and fans in the seat to make it that. I'd love to think that the fans are just like, North Carolina's not good, but it's Bill Belichick, so let's go in there and just ruin his Halloween.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm banking on. People do things on Halloween. First of all, if you got kids, you're probably going trick or treating, right? And if you're a student, maybe there's parties, right?
Right.
So, to your point, just before I forget, our defense has been very good in the first half. And if the offense could keep the defense off the field as much as possible, they'll be able to carry that through for the game.
Yeah.
So these 3-and-outs, back-to-back stuff, man, that's not something that's going to be able to happen. And it's not just because it's UNC. It's just because that's what's going to help us win this game. Control the tempo. Just keep this offense burning somehow. I don't care. I felt like the second half of the Georgia Tech game was not awful. I mean, you could make an argument. Look, man, I'm compared for offense.
I mean, I get it. If you're talking about offense.
yeah, I'm talking about offense. Yeah,
but at that point, our defense was so gassed that, all of a sudden, Georgia Tech really didn't have any problems scoring, right?
That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if I'll just go ahead and do it. Control the tempo of the game, man. Burn clock. You got to get this run game going. I feel like something clicked with Ricky Collins a little bit. He's taken off more. I felt like he did a pretty good job. You could say that this Gio Lopez, he will take off, But with the way the NCAA calculates running yards for a quarterback, he's been sacked 10 times. No idea how many yards he's lost on that. So I don't know. He's got a run of his longest run's 12 yards, but he will leave the pocket. So anyway, we got to match that energy, run the ball, burn the clock. The other thing too, we sacked Heichel 8 times, man. Yeah. I understand the Haynes King thing. I'm going to give them a pass on that. Here's a perfect opportunity to sack another quarterback 8 times. Pressure this dude. He's going to make mistakes. And we saw Heichel's and I feel like he's an NFL quarterback. This dude came out of nowhere. I was thoroughly impressed every time I watched him, and he just wasn't shaken. That not everybody's gonna be able to play like that. Mm-hmm. Pressure this dude, shake him up, get him a couple hits, even if you get there right before you're supposed to, or maybe right after. Make him feel it, okay? And then the field position thing. We just got to be able to flip it when we can, and these 3 and outs and stuff like that, deep in your own territory, and relying on Jack Stonehouse to bail you out of it. I just don't think is a good option. So, right. Syracuse has got to have this one. They know they got to have this one. They've played way tougher teams this year and won. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with the home crowd, to your point, a more balanced team, and that's not saying a lot, man. That's how I feel. Yeah. Syracuse 27, North Carolina 20. That's how I got this. This is my first time picking them to win in 3 games. So control of time possession, get a takeaway. If you can't score on it, get the field position right, and the offense's job is to capitalize on it. Unlike they did against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and I think that to me, again, and I just said this, but I hope that they pack the dome. I hope that there's some type of, obviously students, they already get a thing, right? Students, it's really not going to be that big of a deal, right? They're not going trick or treat, and they're probably going to be coming in a little bit, and obviously, 7:30 to 10:30, 11 o'clock, then it's on a Friday night. You're going out and you're having your Halloween parties, or you're going to your fraternity and sorority parties after, right? So, I expect the college crowd to be there 100%, but I just hope that there's, the university is doing something to try to get other type of fans in there, right? Like give them some type of
free beer.
No, but like for the kids, right? Because you said, like
free beer,
trick or treating, right?
Those kids, not the students. Right, no, don't give the kids beer.
Most of the students aren't even 21. Look,
I'm just playing. I know.
I'm just saying, you think about it, it's just, okay, we can get a little family package thing, and then, hey, have your kids, have them dress up, come up 2 hours early, and we're going to have something set up, right? The university has a little haunted house set up, or they have a bunch of stations where you can go through and trick or treat so the kids can get some candy, but then they can go and you can still watch the game, right? Little things like that families can do to where the kids, the younger kids, can still get their trick-or-treating in, but then you can still be a part of, the community and the fan base, and get out there and cheer for a team. So, I hope that there's some things out there like that are try to motivate some families and some kids to go out there. Hey, yeah, we're going trick-or-treating up at the Dome, and we're going to go watch a football game. And I think the kids would love that, and get a little bit of candy in them, and then let them go and watch the game and fill the crowd. It's important no matter what. Like, we know that as Syracuse. That's just all. I think we've all been in the Dome when it's 85, 90% packed, and people are being loud and they're in the game. It's a game changer.
It's a different thing, yeah.
Exactly. So if we allow Bill Belichick in North Carolina, regardless, they've lost the last 2 games, but they've played
4.
Tough. Well, the last two close, right?
Yeah.
And they had an opportunity to win both of those games. So they have a little bit of momentum coming, because there was a little bit of drama, and now I feel like it's a little bit better. So with that said, I think it's going to be a quite defensive game. I think they're going to be, like you said, the big, obviously tempo and all that stuff, but it's going to be, to me, it's big plays. It's penalties.
Oh, with penalties, yes.
Penalties, turnovers, big plays.
Yeah.
And when I mean big plays, I mean big plays over 30, 40 yards, maybe, a return for a touchdown, a defensive touchdown, anything like that.
Right.
Is really going to be what this game is. But to me, I actually have it a little bit lower, because I've been way too high in my scores. I feel like, except for Pittsburgh was bad. But I have Syracuse winning. I have it 24-16.
Okay. Before I forget, I forgot this part. The all-time series between UNC and the Orange is 4-3. Give it to UNC. However, they've gotten the last two. We won in 2018, if you remember.
Remember that.
It was the second overtime. We took it 40-37. And Cuse did win in Chapel Hill twice, actually, in 95 and 2003.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was at the last one in North Carolina where they smoked us and Drake May.
So was I. I was with you.
Yes, you were. And then on top of that...
That was a terrible experience.
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
It was.
And 2018, I believe, was the Tommy DeVito came in for Dungy to save the day game.
Yes. Yeah, that's when everybody thought that Tommy DeVito was the answer. Guy. Yeah, he was the guy. Now he's doing progressive commercials. Which, hey.
In the NFL.
Hey.
Still in the NFL.
Hey, could not be doing commercials. I mean, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
as much as we poo-pooed that guy and I poo-pooed that guy, my dad loves the guy. But, I mean, my dad, if it was up to him, up until Jackson Dart started for the Giants, he thought that he was still supposed to be the starting quarterback. But as much as we poo-pooed that guy, man, he has definitely over-exceeded my expectations after he left Syracuse for sure.
Yeah, he did more than I thought he would do. I don't know if it's justified.
I mean,
it felt look, I'm not trying to crap on the dude, but it was a show. It was WWE or WWF like it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All right, let's head over to Twitter at David Super. Win 25-24 on Friday. Decorating Eve, he calls it, which is very clever because that's exactly what it is, Joe. Everyone begins the weekend in a great mood. Sean spends Saturday trimming the tree and roasting chestnuts. Joe the Grinch blowing leaves all day and crushing a dozen ketchup lathered hot dogs. Misses Sunday podcast because of stomach bug. That is a very detailed prediction. I like that none of it pertains to the game and all of it is just about Joe eating ketchup smothered hot dogs. It's great.
I would never do a thing like that.
Gosh,
ever.
I have a picture of it.
Never do such a thing.
At No Blanchard 44, 3-0. Cuse, that's the only way we're going to win at this point. Maybe 7-3 with a Cuse pick 6. Buddy Oil Cuse on Twitter. Here, he says I'm close to Waterboy's pick. So let's go to Waterboy's pick. At Cuse Waterboy 2, 20-17. Going to need the Orange defense to come up big in this one and some clutch kicks from Mr. Trip Woody. 20-17. Orange. Level up Luke. 23-20. Dom. 24-16. Syracuse. Neither team is good, but the Cuse defense pulls this one out. That's where I'm at. That's
my score, by the way.
Oh, it is your score. Did you go on Twitter?
No, I did not.
You cheated. You went to Baptized by Fire 7's Twitter handle and
did not.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I agree with it comes down to our defense too, by the way. I mean, our offense is our offense, but our defense has got to make some they have to make some devastating plays to make it very easy for our team to score and very hard on UNC's offense.
I mean, it's depending on the way that you're talking about it, right? If it's up, or depending on our defense to like make a big play, like a Devin Grant against Miami play last year to score a touchdown, then I can agree with that. But at the same time, it is complementary football, and if your offense can't get first downs and can't stay on the field,
Yeah, if he can't stay on the field, we're in trouble.
then your defense is going to eventually get tired, right? So,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah, I think we're all there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're living Groundhog Day with that. I mean,
Oh.
something's got to change with that. At Oil Cuse, last one from Twitter. I'm close to Waterboy's prediction, 24-21. Cuse in overtime with Collins at quarterback. 34-17 with a different quarterback getting the majority of the reps. Everyone knows about Joe, by the way. He adds. So that's 2 hot dog ketchup references. And is anyone getting sick of this? Because I'm not.
I mean, haters are going to hate. That's just what it is. I mean, I don't put ketchup on my hot dog, but
I mean, you can keep saying that. It's like when someone says, I'm not racist. Well, I mean, if you got to tell everybody and let everybody know like that, I mean, what makes you do that? Why don't you just
I
not
guess
be racist?
But my thing is like,
so stop putting ketchup on your hot dogs.
But where does it come from? Where does it come from to begin with? Like, if they say that and it's a false statement, I mean, how many times do I have to tell them that it's not true before they just, stop?
I mean, look, if you got to keep saying that you're not eating ketchup on your hot dogs, still, it makes everybody a little suspicious that it's the possibility that that's what you had for dinner tonight.
Well, look, so it's funny because we all know now that like a majority of like the Syracuse team actually
I know, and
hot dog ketchup
right.
on their hot dog. So
yeah, and I explained how disappointed I was in all of them.
You can say that, but still, right?
Still, what?
If I actually put ketchup on my hot dog, then wouldn't I be like, oh yeah, see, everyone else eats it too? Like, I'm still telling you that I just don't like. I don't.
No, you're not one of those guys that's like gonna jump on the bandwagon and be like, "Oh, see, I'm cool like them," but they're, because it's not cool. You're a little ashamed too, but you're still in that group.
Okay. I mean, you're right. You're right. I'm not a follower.
You're not. So you wouldn't flip your script just because the football team. You wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm justified now."
That's true.
That
is fair. And all this would be relevant if I actually put ketchup on hot dogs or something.
Again, he's denying it.
I don't even eat hot dogs.
Bro, I don't eat hot dogs either. I can't tell you the last time I ate a hot dog. Yeah. You know why? You ever scan a hot dog with? Do you ever scan a hot dog with the Yuka app, bro?
Yeah. What does it say? From parts unknown.
It just depends on what ones you do, but yeah. The additives and all they're terrible for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well aware. Look, I once dated a girl that actually
worked. Okay. What are you saying? She what? She forced you. We're talking about hot dogs and your girlfriend.
No. She in like the summer of college, her and some of her teammates would go in. I don't know if it was a hot dog factory, sausage, both, but she wouldn't tell me. I know it sounds bad, and I'm not saying it like that.
What did your girlfriend and her friends do at a sausage factory, bro?
I don't know, but all I'm saying, come on, bro. All I'm saying is, now you're just making it bad. All I'm saying is that she would not tell me how they were made because she said, I think in quotes, that if I told you, you'd never eat a hot dog or sausage again. So
yeah, that's why this old saying is, we're getting to see how the sausage is made. That's exactly what the NIL did to NCAA football and basketball. It's ugly, ain't it?
Oh, it's pretty. Yeah. So,
Facebook. Yeah. Yes, please. Let's get back on track.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Sausage factories. If you'd have told me Joe was going to bring up sausage factories today, actually, I don't think I would have been surprised, actually. Knowing Joe the way I know Joe. I mean, not like that, but I'm just saying.
They're sausage patties, by the way. So.
Oh, were they?
They're going to be really quick here.
Oh boy, okay. So they showed out too. I know I put this out late, but you guys are letting me down.
Yeah, but it's just Mahir got in.
Oh, did he? All right.
That's top four Mahir.
Pace tomorrow night. Big game. Big exhibition game.
He must be watching this year. He's at 9-3 Cuse win.
Okay. I mean, it's not terrible.
Yeah. Dan from
got a lacrosse score up there.
Yeah, I know. Dan from Facebook put Luke Carney in.
Yeah.
And then there was a response that said, "At this point, what could it hurt? The season is cooked. Give him time under center." We've already like you said.
If you, this is, I mean, I know your answer, so it's rhetorical, but I'm just saying, for the fans out there, if you guys really want to see a win, though, like you want to win this game, like as bad as, we all want to win games. There's always games on the schedule though that you look at and you're like, I want to win that game really bad.
Yeah. I
talked about this in the season opener before Syracuse played a snap of football.
Yeah.
This was the one I had. I'm like, I want them to win this game badly. I think Ricky Collins needs to play for us to have a shot.
Yeah. Fair.
So
absolutely.
It's not about putting someone in to get time.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is that you know how this is going to go, right?
Which part?
This game, you know how it's going to go, especially from the fans. Like, unless Ricky Collins comes out and has an epiphany and just goes off and we blow out North Carolina, it's going to be, okay, so if we lose to North Carolina, Ricky sucks, we got to get a new quarterback in, right? If we barely beat North Carolina, then all they're going to say is, well, North Carolina's the worst team in the ACC, big deal. We still need another quarterback, right? So, like, that's, I mean, we've done this long enough to know where this is going. So you got to put perspective into that. So that's just what it's going to be. Unless Ricky Collins comes out and lights the world on fire on Friday night and we beat them by 3 touchdowns.
We're hearing that till they play Boston College.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but just to roll through, Jack has North Carolina 35, Cuse 14.
What?
Sandro, North Carolina 14, Cuse 11. Brian, North Carolina 24, Cuse 10. John, North Carolina 35, Cuse 14. Another one. So you can see all the positivity over here in Facebook. And then top fan, our boy Andy. Last comment. The only one longer than a sentence. Syracuse just hasn't showed us they're capable of winning. And honestly, if we were playing Colgate, I think we'd lose. Best chance are keeping the offense simplified for Collins, defense showing up, and no penalties. 17-16 North Carolina.
Damn. If they could keep the penalties in check, if they could avoid self-inflicted wounds in this game, I think they come out on top. I mean, obviously they got to do other things too. But self-inflicted wounds would include fumbling, throwing interceptions, pre-snap penalties. I don't mind a pass interference if someone's going to score, right? I mean, you got to play that one. But, at the end of the day, the whole detailed part of this has got to, if it doesn't get fixed, then they're not going to win anything the rest of the year.
These offenses are so inept versus what their defenses can do that, like, it's just, I mean, we know Bill Belichick's the defensive guy, right? And our defense has kind of been holding us together until, the wall kind of collapses in the second half for being out in the field too long.
Right.
But, yes, I mean, the offenses are so inept that if there's too many of those self-inflicted wounds, like you said, then these offenses aren't good enough to come back from them. So that's really what it comes down to, right? It's just one of those death by a freaking 100 paper cuts, right? Like, it's just who's going to have the least amount of paper cuts because these offenses aren't pulling these guys out of the pit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I think that when you look at everything, at least everything I've said about, Syracuse's strategy to win, you can apply almost the same exact thing to UNC. Like, they got to do the same thing. And it comes down to your point that you just made about how inept these offenses are. And So, you know what? Who's going to do it better? I think Syracuse shows out. I think they do it better. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's the one. The only difference is that Syracuse has been playing better competition, better teams.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I think. I think that makes a big difference because they've been standing in there and taking punches for a while. It's time to look at the competition and say, okay, it's time to, deal some blows out.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where you're like, it's like you're a UFC fighter or a boxer, right? And you come in and you win a couple early matches and it looks like, oh, it's a young, talented guy who's going to run through the rankings. And then they start putting him up against some ranked opponents or some guys that are pretty close or they're, just veteran guys. And then they start getting their asses kicked. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe we need to bring them down a notch and play against, somebody a little bit lower to kind of get their confidence back. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at. So, and I hope I'm right.
Yeah, before Miami and Notre Dame. So.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Leave that for today.
Yeah, well, we'll leave that for like a week from today. But that is that. And, don't want to be super negative all year. I think Syracuse can pull this one out. I really do. Coach is going to have them ready to play, though. So we'll see what happens. Friday night, 7:30. Go Orange for Joe. I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.